telling someone they should handle their situation differently, even if they didn't ask for your opinion. To solve the problem as you see it, which can be seen as a form of judgment that may invalidate the other person's feelings or integrity. Fixing can be based on the idea that the other person is broken and needs to be changed. It's a form of judgment. Service, however, is the most complex of the three because being in service can refer to being actively employed in a role or to the act of providing value to others. It can mean using knowledge and expertise to help customers, volunteering for community needs, or dedicating yourself to a cause like public service. The term can also apply to military personnel who is a member of a country's armed forces, or someone who repairs or provides a service to others or to a person in a civilian role, such as a mechanic, waiter, or healthcare worker. Untimely, it is about being useful. Ultimately, it is about being useful, respectful, and helpful to others in various ways. While service is a central concept in many religions, such as Hinduism, Sikhism, and Christianity, others may prioritize different principles. So the extent and nature of service as a practice may vary across different faiths and practices. Service is an altruistic act of giving, putting the needs of others before your own, and making a positive impact on the lives of those around us. The power of service lies in its ability to create a ripple effect of benevolence and compassion, inspiring others to also lend a helping hand and make a difference. Stories of benevolence include historical accounts like those in the Bible, such as the parable of the Good Samaritan and the widow's mite, as well as numerous modern examples of strangers helping each other during the COVID-19 pandemic. Modern stories of service to humanity include those of individuals leaving their comfort zones to help others, such as Doctors Without Borders, or parents adopting children with special needs from orphanages in foreign countries. There are large-scale movements like Malala Yousafzai's advocacy for female education and the consistent, everyday acts of kindness recognized by organizations like the Random Act of Kindness Foundation. Now, many of you have heard me talk about being a member of the Rotary Club. It's an organization that began from the vision of one man, Paul Harris. The Chicago attorney formed the Rotary Club of Chicago in 1905. So professionals with diverse backgrounds could exchange ideas and form meaningful, lifelong friendships. However, over time, Rotary's reach and vision gradually extended to humanitarian service, with the official motto of service above self. And over 1.4 million members, Rotary International is now the world's largest service organization. Being of service and doing good deeds brings countless benefits, not only to the individuals that's serving, but it's also beneficial to the progress and prosperity of society as a whole. Acts of kindness foster a spirit of cooperation, generosity, and love, while strengthening the bonds of unity among people. Moreover, helping others fills the heart with a deep sense of joy and contentment. More involved acts can be volunteering, donating, or helping a neighbor with yard work. The goal is to spread joy and positivity in our community. Mother Teresa once said, "There is a light in this world more powerful than any darkness we may encounter. This spirit will emerge through the lives of ordinary people who hear a call and answer in extraordinary ways." There are so many stories, both personal and newsworthy, that restore our faith in humanity. Stories that feature selfless acts such as strangers providing financial assistance to children in care, a nurse going above and beyond for a patient, or an elderly person being helped by city workers to visit a late spouse's memorial bench. A service-oriented mindset starts with treating others with kindness and respect. True benevolence is a genuine and selfless desire to do good for others, characterized by kindness, compassion, and empathy, and demonstrated through wise and humble actions. It involves helping others without expecting personal gain or recognition, focusing on their well-being and respecting their dignity. It stems from a deep, authentic care for others' well-being, not from a desire for praise or personal satisfaction. When we serve, we see life as a whole, sacred and mysterious. In serving, there is mutuality, wholeness, recognizing wholeness. While helping and fixing can be draining, serving is renewing. Because we serve not with our strength or expertise, but with our presence and our lifetime of experiences. Ordinary people being of service to others is an act of altruism, which can include small daily actions or larger, more formal commitments. It involves putting the needs of others before our own, out of kindness and empathy, fostering stronger communities, and creating a sense of well-being for everyone involved. A benevolent person is not just generous, but also wise, ensuring their help is effective and benefits the recipient. People like Johnny Jennings, who felt it was his life's mission to help children after visiting Georgia Baptist Children's Home. He was only 18 at the time and not ready to adopt a child, so he started helping financially. He began collecting scrap paper and aluminum so he could cash in his collections for money. So by the time Jennings died in September 2022, the 91-year-old had donated more than $400,000 over the course of his lifetime. Stories of benevolence in Texas range from historical figures like George Washington Breckinridge, who funded education, to modern examples of community-led mutual and networks that provide support during crises, such as the community response from the people in Victoria, Texas, after an arsonist set fire to the Islamic Center in the pre-dawn hours in January 2017. The shocked community immediately responded with love. The Jewish and Christian communities of Victoria quickly stepped up and offered their churches and synagogues for worship to the congregation of fewer than 150 people. A GoFundMe account was set up to raise funds for rebuilding the uninsured structure that surpassed the goal of $850,000 within days. While Unitarian Universalism has no dogma, Christianity is the very core of Unitarian Universalism, and service is the way we live out our faith. There is not one of our 1,000 congregations that does not have some way of being of service in their immediate community. Our denomination even has an award that's given to the person or organization designated by our president. Being of service is about more than just a mindset. It requires actively seeking opportunities to meet a need. When I think of fulfilling needs of others, I think of my great-grandmother and her service to others. When I was growing up, there were people in the neighborhood who barely had the necessary food, clothing, and shelter. And while my family was far from being wealthy, we had more than enough. My great-grandmother, known as Big Mama to the family, was the most generous individual that I've ever known. She literally gave away the clothes off my back. One breezy fall day, I returned home from school to see the preschool girl next door wearing a sweater that was identical to one of mine. When I asked Big Mama about the sweater, she said, "When you have more than enough, it's only right to share with others." Her service to others extended to passerbys as well as neighbors. You see, a railroad track ran past our house, and when the freight train slowed down to switch tracks, the men that rode the rails in the boxcars would jump off the train and come into our neighborhood begging for food. Ours was an all-black neighborhood. This was during the Jim Crow era, when everything and everyone was racially segregated in the South. So, just imagine how strange it was to see these white men begging for food at our doors. But my great-grandmother was a devout Christian and lived her faith by Christian praxis and using gifts and time to meet the needs of others in love, inspired by the example of Jesus. So when the strangers knocked at the door, the only thing that mattered was that she had more than enough and always provided the men with a brown paper bag filled with whatever slices of meat and bread from our refrigerator. In a time when the 24-hour news cycle bombards us with stories of tragedy, heartbreak, and deceit, it can be difficult to keep our heads up and remain optimistic about the world we live in. We're inundated with media attention to the awful economy and the spiraling prices of groceries. But amid the tragedy and sadness, we receive daily glimpses of hope and happiness and moments when our spirits are lifted and we're reminded of the generosity and kindness of others. Random acts of kindness are spontaneous, selfless actions to brighten someone's day and can include simple gestures like paying for the coffee of the person behind you, holding the door open for someone, or leaving a positive note for a neighbor. It is up to us who have more than enough to remember that no matter how meager the action measures, we can be of service to fill someone else's need. Remember these words of Mother Teresa: at the end of life, we will not be judged by how many diplomas we have received, how much money we have made, how many great things we have done. We will be judged by, and I quote, "I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was homeless, and you took me in. From my heart to yours, may it be so."